Hello, I'm Roger Bisbee from the Skill Builder channel, and in this video I want to talk to you about reasons why customers hate builders. Now, a few weeks ago we did a video on things that annoy builders about customers, and lots of people in the comments said, why don't you say all the things that customers hate about builders? Well, some people would say the list is too long. There was one guy who said, I could give you 100 things that I hate about builders, and then he failed to give us even one. So let's just keep it fair, let's keep it reasonable. We did 9 things that builders hate about customers. Now we're going to do 9 things that customers hate about builders, and in no particular order. So I must just say at the outset, if you're a good builder and you're watching this just out of curiosity, none of this applies to you. This is the bad guys. You're one of the good guys. First thing that people hate about builders: not turning up. They don't turn up when they say they're going to turn up. They're a week late, they're a day late, whatever it is. They say they're going to come around and do an estimate for you. They don't turn up. They don't phone you. They don't tell you why they're not turning up. They just don't turn up. It's a complete mystery to people why builders do that. I know why they do it: because they're busy, because they've had a really hard day, and because they want to get home. They've got to go around to this customer and they've got to do an estimate. And rather than do the brave thing, which is to phone the customer and say, really, I can't make it, I'm ever so sorry, risk a little bit of telling off, they just say, do you know what, I'll just ignore it. Then you get the thing where the guys do turn up, they come along and they have a look at the job and they say they're going to give you an estimate, and they don't give you an estimate. They just don't bother. They don't phone you to say, do you know what, I've had a look at that job and I'm really not interested, or even to say that to your face, they're not interested. They just don't bother. Now, if that happens to you 3 or 4 times, you get builders along, they have a look at the job, for some reason or another they go away and they don't quote, you've got to start thinking about why that is. That may be something to do with you, it may be something to do with the job. Very, very important that you find that out. Then we've got something that's closely related to not turning up, and that is turning up and then disappearing. Why do people do that? Why do so many builders want to imitate Houdini? Well, the reason is that they're busy. They're on another job. They've said they're going to start your job. They haven't finished the other job. They don't want to let you down. So what they do is the old trick: rather than be honest, rather than just level with you and say, look, we're being held up on the other job. Building's not a science. It's a bit of an art. It's a bit of a black art, actually. You can never tell how things are going to go, and we're going to be a week or 2 late starting your job. No, what they do instead is they turn up, they bring in a cement mixer, a couple of ladders, a few other bits, they might knock a hole in your wall, and then you don't see them. Suddenly the whole place is quiet. The builders have gone back to the other job, finish it off, so they're going to be doing a little bit of dodging between the 2 jobs, making you think that they're doing a bit. You go to work, you come home, you think, what have they done today? They don't seem to have done anything. Well, they haven't, because they haven't been there. So sometimes, like I used to, I'd get my dad, when my dad was about 75, 80 years old. I said, Dad, I just need you to give me a hand on a job. He said, I don't know anything about building. I said, don't worry about it. Just come along. I'm going to put you on the job. Just walk around with a broom, bash a few bits of wood, make a bit of a noise, make the customers think there's something going on, and I can nip off and finish the other job. I did it. You probably did it. And customers don't understand it. Far better to level with them. Always, honesty is the best policy, except when it isn't. So this is another thing that really gets customers, and it's money. They hate paying builders money. Why should they pay builders money? It's much better off in the customer's pocket than it is in the builder's pocket. What's the builder going to do with it? Spend it on cocaine or something else, junk food or something? No, it's much better off in their pocket. So they don't like paying you money anyway, even if it's good value, and they hate builders who overcharge. And we've got to ask, what is overcharging? Overcharging generally is when you say you're going to do it for one price and then you end up doing it for another price. In other words, you get in there, you beat all the other builders on a quote, and you get in there, and then as soon as you get in there, you start wriggling the price around a bit, adding a bit here, adding a bit there, taking a sharp intake of breath and saying, oh no, we've discovered some problems here, they're going to cost you more money. And to be fair, sometimes that happens quite a lot actually, because again, until you take the floorboards up, you don't know what's underneath there, do you? You know what size things are, whether they've got enough joists in there, who knows? There's loads of things, there's damp, there's all kinds of problems that can arise that mean the price is going to go up from the original quote. But be in no doubt, Customers hate it. Now the next thing, territory. Treating the house as if you own it. You come in there, you've got no respect for the customer's territory. They're feeling a little bit uneasy about you coming in there anyway. People don't like it. And you come in there and you just put your feet up on the table, you go in the kitchen, you make your tea, you leave the tea bags lying all over the place. And of course we've heard of those instances where some builders, some people, some dodgy people would go up into the customer's bedroom and have a look through the ladies' underwear drawer. We hear about that all the time. Some builders think that's normal behaviour. But generally what you've got to do is respect their territory, be courteous, and don't start treating it like your own house, no matter how long you've been there. Respect the territory, because people are very territorial. Swearing and other antisocial behaviour. Builders are from another planet. They are an alien species. You imagine waking up in your house one morning and you've got knuckle-dragging, overweight, hairy, swearing, grumpy. That's how a lot of people see builders. Of course it's not true, we know that. Well, it is true. Everybody knows a builder like that. They come in swearing their head off, basically just being animals, and it's a complete culture shock to the customer. The customer's grown up, they've been to a nice school, they've lived a sheltered existence, and this is the first time they've ever had builders in, and it's a complete shock to them. They've never met a species like this in their whole life. What I'd say to you builders is what I learned many, many years ago. My daughter taught me this when she was a lot younger than she is now, but maybe 20 years ago, my daughter turned around to me one day and she said, "Dad, do you know what? You really ought to stop swearing." And I thought, do you know what? She's right. And it's a great thing when your kids tell you something like that. So I stopped swearing. I don't swear on the job. James doesn't swear on the job. Robin doesn't swear on the job. Ian doesn't swear on the job. Daniel Cox doesn't swear on the job. You never hear a swear word come out of any of their mouths. And I try to follow in that tradition every so often. When I drop a hammer on my foot, I do say, ouch, or whatever. But generally speaking, there's no need to go effing and blinding. We had a bricklayer on a job a few weeks ago and he was swearing away. There were young kids there and he was swearing away all day long. And we mentioned it to him and he went, "Oh, sorry, I'm terrible around kids. You know, I keep forgetting." So, well, you wouldn't have to forget if you just stop swearing. Don't turn yourself into two people. Don't be a swearer one day and not a swearer the other day. Just don't be a swearer. It's like not being a smoker or anything else. Just give it up. WC, water closet, loo, whatever you want to call it. Customers don't like you using their loo. Hence the ubiquitous Portaloo. You see it everywhere now. Parked outside jobs, sometimes in the road, sometimes in the front of their house. They'd rather have a plastic loo sitting out the front of their house for several months than you going in and soiling their toilet. They just don't like it. They don't like the smell. They don't like the mess. They don't like the idea of you even being in there. As a plumber, I've fitted a fair few loos, and I learnt a very long time ago that when you fit a loo, it doesn't mean you've got a right to pee in it. The customer must have the pleasure of christening that loo. So get yourself a Portaloo. It's going to cost money. You're going to charge them, and it's quite a lot of money. It adds up very, very quickly, but it's got to be done, fellas. These days, they just don't want you in their loo, no matter how many they got. I like the outside toilet myself. Making a mess and not clearing it up. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes you coming in, trashing the house, putting sawdust all over the place, brick dust all over the place, walking through the house, muddy footprints, and leaving it like that. Now, years ago when I used to do loft conversions, a lot of loft conversions, we used to have a guy who just basically made tea, swept up, hoovered all day long. That's about all he was good for. He could load a few skips as well, but he wasn't a particularly talented guy, but he was willing, and we figured it was worth having him on the job, paid him a few £100 a week, and the customer ended up paying that money, but it kept the job looking spick and span all the time. He was never off that hoover. We used to get him to vacuum out the whole loft before we even started the job, so that all the old grime, all the old coal dust from 100 years had gone. It was all clean. By the time we took down those ceilings, there wasn't a load of black dust all over the house. It had already gone. Get yourself a really good Hoover dust extractor, the best one you can afford, and get someone who knows how to use it. a warranty, some kind of guarantee on your job. And what happens is that builders say, oh yeah, that's fine, yeah. They don't actually mention a warranty or any kind of guarantee period, but it's assumed, everybody assumes that if people pay good money for a job and something goes wrong, it's a bit of snagging or something like that, that the builder will come back. And what customers really hate is that the builder takes their money, disappears over the hill and stops taking their phone calls. He can't be contacted. They're justified in not liking that. Bad workmanship. Obviously something that's going to make people very, very upset because you've charged them good money, you've come in there, you've told them you can do the job and you can't. There's maybe reasons you can't. Maybe you've got subcontractors in who aren't very good. Maybe you're not very good. Maybe it's a job you've never done before, so you're learning, you're feeling your way. And let's face it, we've all done that, fellas, haven't we? From the customer's point of view, they've paid for a lovely job and they're getting a crap job. And nothing hurts them more. Sometimes they look at it and they think, do you know what, I could have done better than that. The attitude of these guys, their attention to detail is just poor. Oh, whoops, I swore. If you can't meet the standards, if you can't do the job, then you're probably better off just getting somebody else in to do it. I mean, you can still make money. Why not be that middleman? Why not be that person who actually doesn't do the work but just arranges for the different trades to come in? Find yourself good trades and hopefully they don't let you down. Hopefully they don't start not turning up and then disappearing, overcharging, treating the customer's house like they own it, swearing, using the loo, creating a mess, not providing a warranty and doing a crap job even though you thought they'd do a good job. See what I mean? It's all knocked on. As soon as you start hiring other people, you're in that big unknown. It's not your fault, you're the good guy. It's all these subbies you're using who are the problem. So we arrive at 9 and I was going to shortchange you there and give you 8 and see if anybody noticed, because after all, I am a builder. I'm Roger Bisbee. Come back to see us sometime soon, will you? And we'll have more rants for you. If you want me to do a particular rant, one that I haven't already done, then put it in the comments below. I do requests.